Well, I'm back, baby. I'm back. I am back from taking a gig, a really well-paying gig, and I was on the road for quite a while. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic, and I can't wait to do it again next year. But it's definitely going to be a very infrequent thing. So there won't be like huge gaps in second channel catalog usually, unless like I find a really cool gig to do here and there. So, with that being said, what better way to come back to making my silly little videos on the second channel than with a quartering video? And for anybody who's been paying attention, the quartering, well, you shouldn't be paying attention because quartering is fucking obnoxious and boring and he sucks. But if you have, he has been milking the Little Mermaid controversy that has been happening recently. I'm not sure how much he's going to recap on it, but basically, it was revealed that there's a live action Little Mermaid that's coming out, and Ariel is black. And that's it. And that's it. And everybody is losing their minds and pooping their pants. And yeah, it's very strange. So I've made argument, like I made some TikToks this morning talking about it because I thought it was pretty fucking hilarious, some of the arguments that people are making about it. But I haven't actually watched any of these dog shit videos because I care about my mental health. Unless I'm doing the second channel, which means it's time to be punished, and that's why you're here too. You deserve punishment and pain.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day.
Why does he say that? Why does he say Jeremy from the quartering? Like you are the quartering. Like it's not. But there's no business going on here. Unless you're counting like the people who edit your incredibly low effort anyway videos as part of your staff. They're part of the quartering, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Also, switching up the background, apparently he's got a large collection of cassette tapes. That's interesting. Most people, when they want that vintage sound of listening to music, they get, like vinyl. I've never heard anybody say, man, I wish I could go back to the sweet sounds of cassette tapes. His editor is a lib? I don't believe him. I mean, whatever. Anyway, let's go.
The drama around The Little Mermaid rages on as the trailer is closing in on 2 million dislikes. The mainstream media machine is pumping out nonstop hate pieces about anybody who decided that they wanted to give their criticisms to it, calling
okay, keep going.
them, of course, all sorts of terrible things because that's what happens. It's currently at 656,000 upvotes, which is very good, I will say. Very good. But it is at 1.8 million downvotes.
Okay.
It is.
So what? It's internet points. It's make-believe. I mean, Jeremy knows just as well as anybody else that a dislike for the algorithm is just as effective as a like. Like, it's just internet points. Like Reddit karma. Like, what the fuck? Why do you give a shit? Why does anybody give a shit? Uh-oh, it's super disliked. Yeah, well, okay.
It's close to 2 million downvotes. And now we're getting the articles like this. My Ariel is black and she's swimming in white tears.
All right, I'll agree. That's a pretty dumb headline. Yeah, that's a pretty dumb headline.
And big chunks of the movie got leaked. It's been a wild, wild day. This and more after a quick word from this video sponsor.
Oh, no. What is he selling knives now? Why are you? Hey, look at my knife. What kind of knives is
Turkey and also
Kamikoto. Okay, well, couldn't get that Cutco sponsorship.
Let's start with the leaked clips of Halle Bailey as the Little Mermaid surfacing. A longer clip of the Halle Bailey as Ariel singing Part of Your World has surfaced, and it gives us a better look at the character. It's from D23 or wherever they get the longer clip of her performance. Hurry and watch it online while you can, as Disney's reportedly pulling down the footage all over the internet. Well,
yeah, I mean, it's their intellectual property. They can totally do that. So fucking whatever.
I'm not going to play it because I don't want...
How can people see downvotes? So that's the thing, actually. You can see the downvotes on YouTube if you install the right kind of plugin. Because they're still there, and they're still recorded in the page metadata, so you can still see it. you know. But like it still doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter, you know. It's totally bizarre.
Disney to show up. I want the mouse showing up at my house. Quite frankly, I mean, I don't think there's any question of whether or not Halle Bailey can sing. Seems to sing quite well.
Okay.
And it doesn't give us a whole lot of more context into the film, other than kind of continue on the conversation.
Okay.
Around the film.
Yeah, sure.
The article writes, honestly, sounds really good, and her hair does look redder in the version. Plus, you can see her hair moving in the water, which is something that people were concerned about.
I don't think anybody's really given that much of a care about the hair in the water. I mean, maybe. Like, I don't know. Listen, you should never, ever, under any circumstances, ever assume that somebody won't waste their time worrying about something that is completely inconsequential. For instance, this man's entire career.
My concern is about what the other characters are going to look like. We aren't seeing that. How do Flounder, Scuttle, Sebastian translate into live action? Well,
probably bad. If the Lion King live action is any demarcation, probably bad.
I think she's just going to carry a lobster around, right? Like, she's under the sea, and she's going to just have her little lobster.
Is that a joke? Is Jeremy trying to make it funny? What the fuck? Honestly, now I want to see a Tim and Eric version of Little Mermaid where they do that, and it's just an absolute shit show. Them playing with dead seafood. That would be fucking great. That would be awesome. But they would know how to tell it in a way that's funny instead of this vacuous lard bag.
There's also a rumor going around that she does not go to the surface for, quote, a man, which kind of undoes Disney's animated version and the original fairy tale as well. Well, of course, she's going to go to the surface to be a boss bee. She's going to go to the surface to get a job in corporate accounts payable.
Okay.
She's going to go to the surface to become a musician or singer or
yeah, that sounds actually kind of cool. I think that would be interesting, wouldn't it? You know, like if you were to remake, the Little Mermaid, because like, look, Baz Luhrmann's like Romeo plus Juliet, it's all stylized and shit. Like, look, okay. Obviously changes the context of the story. The heart of it is still there, like there's still a bit, and like adapting it for more like a modern time and whatnot, that could be actually kind of interesting. And in fact, I think a lot more people would be more cool with that because then it doesn't feel like they're replacing the original movie. They're instead making something that's like a new adaptation for it. I think that's honestly, Jeremy, that's a great idea.
A corporate lawyer, because that's what Disney wants to push now. You got to have a career. You got to have a career. If you're a woman, you got to, abandon, don't have kids. That won't make you happy. Work your whole life until your ovaries are an elephant's graveyard. That'll make you happy.
What the fuck?
My Ariel is black and she's swimming in white tears. First, let me start by writing something I've probably written a dozen times on white privilege and supremacy. Whiteness is the default for social and cultural normalcy in America.
Okay. Sort of-ish, sort of. So, okay. Like how whiteness is used depends on who you're talking to, because there are definitely people who just use whiteness in like a nondescript kind of pejorative sort of way. There's also people who will take the concept of whiteness, which, to be clear, is a concept surrounding the idea of a cultural normalization of white people having this status and not usually knowing that they have that kind of status. Now, that doesn't necessarily always have to translate to like white people. I think the branding of that is bad. I've always like wished there was a better term people use, because people who are very sensitive automatically reject that. They're like, whoa, hey. Is it my fault that I'm white? No, of course not. No, it's not your fault. And that's not really the problem. But saying that whiteness is a default social and cultural normalcy in America, I don't necessarily agree with. I would say that it's a large aspect that is routinely challenged, not always well. But the thing is, too, when you look at the actual like concept of whiteness in and of itself, Jeremy just like reinforces that kind of shit all the fucking time.
This stands true despite the fact that white American culture is generally pilfered from all the non-white cultures that it surrounds. Oh, okay.
See, I don't like the term of pilfered. I don't think that's very good. I think that we have developed our culture in America. I just think that the big problem we have is one of class, one of race consciousness, one of being tone deaf about things. Without black people, we wouldn't have rock and roll. But does that mean like white people stole rock and roll? No. I mean, Elvis did, but no. No. It's complicated. And I think you could appreciate all of these things without having to like make it a thing and just like always have to be, pointing at every single little thing. It's much better to talk about a more broad kind of thing. That way people don't necessarily automatically recoil if it seems to kind of translate to something to do with them.
Okay, sure.
People are sensitive. You have to be.
Sure. And then, so why do you need the Danish tale then? What does this say about black culture, so to speak? For all of American history, white people have been overwhelmingly represented in every pillar of our popular culture because white people represent 80% of the country.
It's not 80%. It's actually a bit less than that. But that's also a really shit way to talk about that. A little weird. It's a little weird. It's very strange. Is that then the argument that the Little Mermaid in this movie should be white because there are more white people? Is that the argument you're making? Because it's a weird argument. Isn't that a strange argument? That's a little strange argument, don't you think? That's kind of weird.
That's why. It's like, are you like, I mean, it's really not that difficult to understand why that is.
I'm having trouble with it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm having trouble with it. I mean, it does explain why it has, but not why it is. You see, there's a difference there. There's like how things did be versus how things could be did now. Okay? I'm trying to talk in ways that Jeremy might understand what I'm trying to say.
Then white people talk about what many of them call forced diversity in Hollywood. I like to point out a little thing I called forced whiteness.
Sure.
Forced whiteness isn't as simple as changing the race of a character from the race in the source material. Forced whiteness is the systemic racial gatekeeping that has ensured white people always be placated and never want for representation. But
yeah, okay, so that could be a thing, absolutely. And if you have a problem with forced diversity, you should also have a problem with forced whiteness. There should be reasons behind lots of these things. But also, I don't think The Little Mermaid is forced diversity. How? In what way? How? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Because here's the thing that gets me about this whole argument. This is what's so fucking weird to me, okay? So people are like, you can't make Ariel black because she was white. Well, she is white in The Little Mermaid. In the animated movie, The Little Mermaid, Ariel is white. She's still white. She's still white. You can still go watch that movie. It's still there. It's not going anywhere. They're not going to remove it from the streaming services. There's not going to be the fucking mermaid Gestapo that are going to be coming around making sure that you're only watching the black one. Nobody's going to do that. Yeah, like, you can't change Ariel. They didn't. There is now another Ariel that is obviously, that seems like the story is going to be a little bit different, and she happens to be black. Okay. What's the fucking problem? What is the problem? I think The Little Mermaid is intentional diversity, but not forced diversity. Right. There's nothing wrong with intentional diversity. Nothing wrong with it. It's a choice. People made the choice. Fuck it. Good for them.
But again, I don't really understand how race swapping does your cause any good.
It's not being swapped. How is Ariel being race swapped? Ariel's not real, right? Like, and that movie still exists. Still exists. That doesn't seem like a swapping to me.
Can somebody explain that to me? All this negative press.
Uh-huh.
All this negative press.
Uh-huh. He's trying. He's trying to
And
think.
like, what does it do? What has it done for representation?
Is it wait. All of this negative press. Do you think that they didn't think there was going to be negative press and that they didn't count on that negative press and that negative press is probably going to drum up more people to go and see the movie than they did before? Because I can guarantee you they 100% knew it was going to happen. They have a lot smarter people than me or Jeremy working on their marketing campaigns. So, no. And the best part is, this is the best part. This is the best part. The more that stuff like this happens, the less potent the negative press appears to be, and the less it seems that people start to give a shit. Because the more it happens, the more they're doing it again. I'm just too tired to get that mad about it anymore. I got mad at that one, and I got mad at that one, but this one I'm too tired. So eventually, you'll just be worn out, and you'll just accept it. Be like, yeah, fuck, whatever.
All it's done is, make everyone angry, cause everyone to be fighting. It's not inclusive. It's not diverse. It's insidious.
Insidious. Ooh, big word for you.
The idea that it's so funny to me that race swapping a character from white to black is stunning and brave, but if we had done that the other direction, people would be rioting in the streets.
No. Nobody's gonna riot over the Little Mermaid. Calm the fuck down and shut the fuck up, okay? Nobody's gonna riot about it. Nobody's gonna free. And aren't you always like the BLM protests that burn cities to the ground? I don't understand how you can, with a straight face, say that if they changed a black Ariel to white Ariel, that this is gonna happen or some shit. Is it only exist in that weird muffin brain of yours that? Well, actually, isn't he kind of making a slightly racist assumption there that because it's the whites that are losing on their precious Ariel, but they're not quite as violent, so there's not riots in the street. Is that Jeremy? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing?
Led by a bunch of white people, a bunch of useful idiots.
Oh, that's a good cover. That's a good cover. Okay, that's a good cover. Good job.
They'd be burning down cities.
Ah!
I don't really understand how anybody can look at this and not know that that's exactly what. If they took a traditionally black story and repurposed it with white people in it in modern day.
Name a traditionally black story. I dare you.
They have done that in the past, a long time ago. And that's not okay there. Oh. By the way, let me be very clear. That would not be okay either. Taking a traditionally black story and whitewashing it, so to speak. That's not okay.
You know that mermaids aren't real, right? There's nothing about being a mermaid that requires you to be white, right? You know that, right? You're aware?
And these are the same people that complain about that. And I'm with you.
Huh.
But the fact that you're just oh, Ariel's black now.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to me that
who cares?
It's if you stop and think and listen to their arguments, the idea that oh, it's just a fictional mermaid. Look at this article. Racists are worried about historical accuracy of mermaids.
Yeah. There's been people who are trying to make a historical argument, and they're laughing at them.
Gaslighting, right?
You
the idea ears. That, oh, it's just something so stupid. It's so stupid. It's not a big deal.
It's not.
But then they'll write the very same article oh, look at all the little African American or the black girls who are crying. There's 100 articles about that.
Yeah.
All these young black females who are crying because she looks like them. Isn't that stunning and brave? I thought
it's cute. It's sweet. Yeah, it's sweet.
It didn't matter.
You thought it didn't matter.
They talk out of both sides of their mouth.
If it was a white mermaid and she was singing, would you cry because she looks just like you? What if it was a fat neckbeard? In a tail. Wearing a chicken grease stained, wife beater, and holding the bottle of vodka. Would you then cry, Jeremy, because he looks just like me? Shut the fuck up.
Look, I don't think that
Uh,
The Little Mermaid is culturally super important here in America.
which is why you've made 6 videos about it.
Maybe in its original folklore area, Danish, yes, it may be more popular or maybe more culturally active or historically important there.
Probably
But
not.
to act in one hand like, oh, it's just a fictional character, who cares, but then also spawn the same articles that talk about how important it is. You don't get to play both sides.
That doesn't make any sense. It's great that people are having an emotional reaction to it because they can see themselves in the character. That's great. That's really cool. And people that are freaking out about that are not important because they're dumb. And usually, probably unintentionally, but maybe not, a bit racist. I'm just saying, man.
Apparently they can't handle Halle Bailey singing Part of Your World, new Little Mermaid trailer. And this is, again, this is why
They're talking about you, Jeremy. They're talking about you.
it's so important that like I try to arm people who watch my videos to be ready for this kind of gaslighting.
Oh, you got to protect yourself there, boyos. Oh, no.
It's insanity. Because it's like, no, you don't get to just call everyone racist and say I'm right. That's this generation, like the Zoomer.
You literally do that all the fucking time, man. You literally do that all the fucking time. You're like, oh, actually, reverse Uno card and you're the racist. Anyway, races, they like to race. I think that's what he's talking about, yeah. If Chris Farley was alive, I would want him to be the fat neckbeard Little Mermaid. Yeah, me too. I would love that. I think that'd be great. It's weird.
Generation, they're like, actually, that's just racist, and I'm right.
Yeah, you say that all the fucking time. Jesus Christ. There is so much projection going on in this. This is wild. Does he say anything more interesting? Basically reading a bunch of articles that are basically talking about him. Good news for Disney. A huge amount of dislike. You reap what you sow. Yeah, you guys, you're really showing it to the man there. Anyway, I'm done. I can only handle Jeremy for so fucking long. This is embarrassing, and I I do not know how that man remembers to breathe. Okay? It's very strange.